James, small business show.
Welcome. How's everyone doing? We're here on Dr. James McConnell's Small Business Network. We're glad to have you guys here with us on the road in Cedar Hill, Texas. We're at the beautiful offices here at MBC Global Enterprises. And we're looking forward to a beautiful jam-packed show for you guys. We can't wait. My co-host, Carol Harper Cole and Miss Brittany Wise, how are you guys doing today?
Fabulous, Dr. James.
Oh man, we have something special for the audience, for the viewers and the listeners. So obviously we're starting with astronomy a little bit. That's one of my things that I like to talk about, astronomy. And this is part 2 of the life and death of a star. And we were talking about the sun. So Miss Brittany, you have anything to say about the life and death of a star and how our sun lives and dies?
You just had to put me on the spot, didn't you? That's okay though. Like, yeah, I did a little bit of research this time with the help of Dr. James. I found that all of our elements come from dead stars, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So, what's your take on that, Dr. James?
Oh man, that is awesome. So as far as the elements in our bodies, the death of the massive stars, by the time they get to that part, they're bursting out a ton of elements from lead to iron to oxygen to carbon to everything that's in our bodies. So keep that in mind. Before the earth was even here, it was created by the same explosion. So the elements end up being on the earth, and those elements somehow are able to be inside of our bodies, right? So and that's a topic that I will dig deeper in as we go for the future. So back to the sun. So we kind of talked about the life and death of our sun. Well, last week I talked about when it burned helium, when it burned hydrogen to helium. Most of the sun's life, our sun's life, and we talked about how the sun is a 10 billion year sun. So we're in year 4 billion 5, and right now it's still burning hydrogen into helium. But we're going to get to a point, and keep in mind, our sun is in an ongoing battle with gravity. Gravity is trying to crush the star.
Okay.
But the nuclear fusion that keeping the sun the same size and keeping it stable is going against gravity. So the key here is after another 5 billion years or so, what's going to happen is our fuel will finally go out. And when it go out, gravity will start to win. Gravity will start trying to crush the sun. What will happen is the sun will try to overcome it. By now, instead of burning just hydrogen to helium and oxygen, it will start trying to convert helium to carbon. For that to happen, the sun has to get even hotter. So the degrees that it is right now, it will go up to at least 50 million more degrees so it can convert that helium into carbon. But for that to happen, the sun has to get a lot bigger than it is. It will turn into something called a red giant. So that's the stage that we're going to stop at right now. The sun turning into a red giant. And next week will be part 3. I hope you guys enjoyed that side of it. Hope you guys like that part of it. I guess let's move on with the show.
All right. So, Dr. James, tell us about the topic of business uniforms.
Okay, so I think having a business uniform is very important. Obviously, we all can wear what we like, something nice, all that kind of good stuff. But it's good to have a logo, a logo so people can know who you are, i.e., here is one of my logos right there, if everyone can see. So it's kind of okay to have a business logo. And I think that we should have a business logo to sometimes change up, whether it's a polo shirt and you got it on your left chest, or whether it's a jacket, or whether it's both, or whether you have it on your dress and it's above your left chest. Either way, I think having a business uniform is very important. What do you think, Ms. Carol?
Oh, I love it. I have my logo too, and I can't wait till NBC do my logo for me.
Awesome.
NBC
Awesome.
Global, yes. What about you, Miss Brittany?
Well, I also have a logo. Logo is great for branding. It's just like as soon as you hear AT&T, something image pops up in your head. So as soon as you hear McDonald's, an image pops up in your head. So that's the power of branding, which goes beyond just having the logo, but your brand says who you are and what you want to portray. Because a Lexus versus a Toyota creates a different image in your head. So that's the power of branding.
So how important are they?
Well, I
Dr.
think it's
James?
very important. I think it's the most important thing. That is my take on it. I think it's the most important thing. It goes along with everything that you deem as important for your business. Having a business uniform is equally as important as everything else.
Absolutely, and I agree with that because when they see that logo, they will recognize your logo, NBC. They will recognize that, or when they see Brittany and my logo, they will absolutely brand your business, as Brittany said. So, what type of logos do you put on your shirt?
Well, one of them is what I just showed you, and I'm going to show you guys again. That is one of them. But some of the logos, I'll put NBC's list logo. I'll put NBC's list global logo with the world. I do have a few logos that I do like.
Okay.
So just whatever makes you happy. So how about you, Miss Carol? So what kind of logos do you put on yours?
Well, I have a logo that I made myself, but my website guy, he designed my website, my logo with a pink circle with my Carol Publishing Company, which is CPC in the circle, and it's on my Facebook page. And absolutely, it looks nice. It's a pink logo with CPC on it. What about you, Miss Brittany?
Well, as far as logos go, I try to think about what kind of image I'm trying to portray with my company. Um, if you think about a Bentley, Bentley does very little advertising. So, but when you think about their company, you think luxury. So, as far as the logos that I pick, I try to portray whatever business it is. So, my dance business, the logo is a little more hype and bold and active, but my consulting business is a little more sleek and concrete to share the different image, if you will, of what I'm trying to portray.
That's great.
So, since we're talking about logos and business uniforms, let's jump into financial IQ. Dr. James, how do you obtain financial IQ?
Okay, so obtaining financial IQ. So there's a lot of different ways here how to obtain financial IQ, but obviously reading on this topic, there are great books. Robert Kiyosaki has one book that I really like. I've listened to the audio book and it gives you a great idea of how to obtain it. So obtaining financial IQ is very important as it pertains to understanding money, customers, and how they work simultaneously.
Right. So, what are the three brains we have?
Okay, so there's three types of brains as far as that we need to understand, right? There's the analytical information brain. There's a part of us that's always trying to gather information analytically to be able to make a decision, right? Then the second brain would be the emotional brain. Now that part of our brain makes us jump without thinking sometimes. So if you can understand, most people have the emotional part and which one drives that person, right? Then there's the third brain, which there's the primal part of our brain, the instinct, so to speak. And what I mean by the instinct is when you sneeze, why do you think you sneeze? You do it from a reaction that's going on at a subatomic level. So the key here is that if you can understand what's driving your customer, if your customer is the kind of person that's gathering information a lot, then you'll understand that's what's driving them, and you need to give them information. If they're an emotional buyer, which I'm sure that you understand, sometimes when you went to the store, you're looking at a purse that you like, and sometimes you're thinking about, oh man, this will look good on me, or the jeans, ooh, and you look in the mirror and you're thinking about how good you look. That emotion makes you buy it. And then
Right.
the primal part of it is, again, the instinct that you have, even for survival, things people need to do to survive, and you have to understand what's driving a person. So what's you guys take on financial IQ and those three parts of your brain? Give me an idea as far as the analytical person, or the think, and the thinker, the emotional person, the primal person. Give us your take on it.
Well, one thing that I learned when I was doing my research about the emotional part is called the limbic, LIMBIC, emotional brain, and it manages the emotions that you have inside. That's just one point.
Okay.
And I can go on all day about this. I'm trying to gather up something quick and simple to say as far as financial IQ and how the three brains work together. Sometimes the way we see ourselves is how we present to the world, and that, sometimes the making the large purchases is an emotional reaction, and a lot of companies will dictate your emotions to get you to make impulse buys, and it can go really deep, but I won't go too deep. Not yet.
Okay. And before you go to this next question, I forgot to tell you guys. I know this is on our last topic, but I wanted to tell you the colors that I like for the uniform. And so I do like orange, I like gold, and I like red and blue. I like orange, gold, red, and blue. Those are the colors that I use with my logo and my uniform. So I just wanted to go back and say that, because I did want to tell you guys about that, and I truly forgot about telling you guys that, and our viewers. But those are my colors, so I just wanted to throw that back out there. Okay, Miss Brittany.
Okay, so you still on financial IQ and the three brains. How would you apply it as it pertains to customers, and how can we get more customers based on the three brains?
Okay, so when you're talking to your customer, and no matter what you're trying to do or trying to sell, it's all about what they want, and understand where they're coming from. So,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with a person, like we have a partner. Her name is Miss Carla. Miss Carla is an analytically information driven person. So,
Mm-hmm.
so like her, you would need to give her all the information and give it to her in a way that she can digest it, and then she'll move forward. She's
Mm-hmm.
not typically, I'm sure she still moves around on emotion some, but the driving force of information is what drives her. So on the other hand, when you're dealing with a person that's emotional, and that's talking about, let's say if you're trying to sell them a dance class, and let's say someone is talking about, oh man, I'm gonna look good. I like to go out to the clubs, I like to dance, and this and that. And when they're talking like that, then all you have to do is tell them about how this dance class is going to enhance their dance, and how they're going to look when they're going to the clubs, or when they're going to blah blah blah, kind of whatever they're doing. So that's a couple of ways to be able to apply it to a customer.
Right, gotcha.
How
Okay,
about
so
how about you, Miss Carol? How would you apply it?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked, Dr. James. Like you was talking about the energy drive, Brittany one was talking about, you get your customers really curious about, something that they really want to buy, and you drive their energy toward what you're trying to sell.
All right. How about you, Miss Brittany? Any more advice on that topic?
as far as driving customers to purchase your items, I think it just starts with listening. And when you listen to what they tell you, you can kind of navigate. To be honest, the listener is the one controlling the conversation. So if you ask the right questions and get them to talk more, you can pretty much give them whatever they're in need of, and they won't even notice it. So that's usually how I just go like that.
How sweet it is.
Uh-huh.
It is. So we're going to move on to our next topic, and this topic is going to be health and wellness. And we're going to talk to Brittany about this topic. Tell us about this topic, Miss Brittany.
Thank you, Dr. James. So, I was actually going to touch on the balance of health and wellness. So it falls right in line with the financial IQ and the three brains. So a lot of times we tend to focus on health and wellness as eating right and exercising. But I'm here to tell you there's a mental health that's far more powerful than diet and exercise alone. Because there are a lot of people who eat all the right things and work out there 30 minutes an hour or however long they work out every day, and they're hiding depression behind a smile, which is just as unhealthy. Because if you think about it, whatever's going on internally will show up externally. So having a good, healthy mind and a good mental and spiritual space is just as powerful as, having a healthy body, as far as you're eating right and exercising, and you're giving the right nutrition, your body the right nutrition. I just want to stress how powerful it is to be stress-free, to have a level of peace in your mind and in your heart and in your spirit. That goes far beyond eating right and exercising. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a health. That's something that you want to focus on too, as far as health goes. But having that balance of a strong spiritual connection with, God, universe, divine energy, whatever source energy, whatever y'all call it. I call them God. That's my Holy Spirit. Okay. When you have that spiritual connection and you have the emotional stability, as well as you put the right foods in your body, and you drink your plenty of water, and you exercise, and you're moving, all of those things play a part. So if we think the body is a balance mechanism, if anything is out of whack, everything is out of whack. Okay, that's, I don't want to get too deep into all the different diseases, but if you think break the word disease down, dis-ease. The body is not at ease. Okay, so I can go deep into health and wellness, because again, that's a passion of mine. I can talk about it all day. Everything connects. You don't know how well your body is connected until you start getting stuff cut on. Ask anybody who has any kind of surgery. They know. You have shoulder surgery and your hip is bothering you. How so? The body is connected inside and out. So we want to make sure that we take care of all of the parts of our body, and we want to make sure that we stay balanced emotionally, spiritually, and physically.
Well, how about you, Miss Carol? I mean, give us a take on health and wellness.
Well, as I was listening to Miss Brittany, we are what we eat.
Absolutely.
So if you're putting a lot of junk in there, your body is going to be, like she said, disease. I'm piggybacking off of her. Your body will start to break down, and will also give you warning signs. Just like you thinking something is wrong with your leg, it might be something that's interfering with your stomach or your heart. Mm-hmm. So basically, I'm going to leave with that note: you are what you eat.
What about you, Dr. James?
Well, health and wellness is very important. I think the other day I actually found myself playing a teenager in some basketball. And I've noticed how, because of my surgeries that I had maybe 4 years ago, I hadn't played that kind of competition in a while. And I was extremely winded when I was done. And so I told myself, you know what, I have to get back to playing a little bit more and getting back, because I don't recall getting winded like that. So being healthy It's something that you got to do and you got to maintain it. And on top of just the exercise part of it, if you have medicine that you got to take, don't try to be like, I don't want to take it. You know, some people are very, hard-headed as pertains to taking their medicine. That medicine sometimes keep you healthy. So on that topic, what our next topic that we're going to talk about next, we're going to talk about progression. We're going to talk about that topic next. But I made it sound like my fault. See? Hey, see? I'm already thinking. See, I want to y'all see. That's what I'm here for too. If something don't go right, I'm gonna cover it up. This makes that, and then hey, Duke, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, after this song, you know you're supposed to play the James McConnell promo to the show, right? Okay, good. Okay, I was just checking. So after that promo is toward the end, then I'll start back talking. All right, thanks. Everything's going smooth too, Duke. I just wanted to say, man, everything's going lovely. Can you hear us good on your end? Okay, thanks, buddy.
Allocate and dictate. Dr. James, ask me the second question first.
Oh no, Duke, not that, Duke. Duke, the James McConnell promo, not that. The introduction to Fishbowl Radio Network promo. It says James McConnell promo, not my intro. Okay, just play it, and we're good. No, James McConnell promo. It says James McConnell promo. Oh my goodness. Okay, go ahead and play the intro again, and then I'll just start talking. No problem. Yes, stop it and go ahead and play it. Yes. Hello, hello, hello. We are back. Cedar Hill, Texas. MBC Global Enterprises offices. Beautiful day, sunny, beautiful. Co-host Carol Harper Poe, Brittany Wise. We are back with the topic progression. So this question is for Miss Brittany. Miss Brittany, what is progression?
Well, progression is just simply moving forward, getting things accomplished. That's the simplest way I can say it.
Okay, and Miss Carol?
Like she said, moving forward and having progress, you have to see some kind of progress or whatever you're doing. You got to see that it's working for you.
Okay. Miss Brittany, how does a person continue to progress in life?
Well, I would recommend you continue to write new goals. You have good, attainable, what we call SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, attainable, what's R? Realistic and timely goals. That's the SMART, SMART. So when you continue to have goals through life and you accomplish those goals, that's how you continue to progress. And one day you'll look up and you'll say, "Wow, I done came a long way."
Absolutely. So my take on that will be doing like Tony Robbins and Bill Gates and reading and studying because these people have made it. So you can learn from entrepreneurs like Dr. James and you can learn from people that's already been doing this thing for years. As Dr. James been doing it for 22 years. You have to have your fitness, toughness, and exercise. You have to really exercise. Basically, as I stress again, you have to exercise what you talk about. If you're just talking and not doing it, you're not going to progress. You're going to stand still and be stagnated right where you are.
Walk it
That's
like
great.
I talk. Walk it like I talk. What about you, Dr. James? How do you keep progressing?
Well, actually, on both those questions, to progress, it depends on really what you're doing, but everything is always moving forward. So whether it's trying to progress in your business, obviously it means going forward, always improving, always trying to do something that's going to enhance it. Anything that's is contrary to it, then you're not progressing as pertains to your life. Um, how do you progress in life? Well, in life, there are some things that goes with life. Obviously, finances in this world, you have to progress to be able to take care of your family, pay bills, have money to be able to go do things. As pertains to your spiritual self, you have to be able to feel like you're close to God, close to Jesus, able to whatever you deem as going that way. So, how does a person continue? You keep living and you just continue to keep living.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sometimes we can get stagnant and stuck, depending on what life throws our way. But as long as we keep a mind of progression and moving forward, we don't want to get into a victim mentality or of blaming others for our hardships or our issues because not everybody has the same battles and tests.
Exactly.
Right,
It's-
right. So the next topic that I'd like to actually talk about is mental health. Mental health. Why is mental health important, Miss Brittany?
Oh, wow. That has a lot of importance. Mainly, like we talked about when the financial IQ, it keeps you from having the impulse buying and wanting to look like $1,000,000 instead of having $1,000,000, if you will. Mental health goes beyond what people see. So when you're mentally strong and you're mentally stable, nobody else can come put a price tag on you. When you value yourself, nobody else can come put a price tag on you. And that is a very powerful place to be, because you can walk knowing that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image.
Absolutely.
What about you, Miss Carol?
Well, I think about when you say mental health, if your brain and you're not healthy, your brain is not going to be healthy. The mental part of you is not going to be healthy. So, and also if that's not healthy, your life is going to be out of balance and out of whack. And like structure, you need structure. So, but it goes back to your health and wellness, mental health plus health problems.
Oh my goodness. As far as mental health, how important that is probably one of the most important things, even above money. And we know money in this world is the most important thing in this world, but mental health, oh my goodness, you have to be able to have your mental health, because if you're having a problem with mental health, then you can't stay focused. Maybe you're fighting against a lot of different demons, as far as maybe voices, maybe being unstable. I mean, so many things mental health wise. Oh my goodness. That's one of the things that will keep you focused on your task at hand.
Absolutely.
So the next question is, how does it impact a person's life?
Like you said, it's the most important and most valuable tool that one individual can have. I'll go a little personal. My childhood was filled with a lot of childhood trauma. I've seen my mother get abused. My mother and my father met in jail, and out came me. So a law-abiding citizen, right? So I saw a lot growing up, and seeing drugs, and my father was addicted to drugs. So I had a lot of childhood traumas that I had to figure out how to cope with or deal with. But because of that, I chose, God spared me. I chose not to go down the road of drugs and alcohol, which is what a lot of people do, especially if they're, when you have those mental health issues and those traumatic events that you want to try to quiet and suppress. People tend to go down the road of drugs and alcohol, which is unhealthy in itself, because you're only making it worse, and you're self-medicating, is what people call it. The psychologists and psychiatrists call it. So it impacts your life greatly if you're not mentally strong and mentally healthy, and you haven't figured out ways to cope with life's traumatic events. If you don't have some kind of structure or foundation, it can really wear and tear on you. It's one thing to give it to God, as our our church people call it, but how do you turn your mind off? How do you understand find the purpose in the pain? That's where mental health comes in, and really taking that time to heal. It's a beautiful thing once you're healed, but it is a grueling process. It's a lot of work. But I commend anybody who's taken that mental health journey and really healed whatever issues or traumatic events. Kudos to you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Wherever you are, it's hard. It's really hard to stand up inside yourself and look within, and deal with the hurt, and finding the purpose in it is a powerful thing. Once you're on that other side, I know Miss Carol would agree. I like using the example of a butterfly, because the caterpillar's on the ground. If you think about a caterpillar, it's prey to almost everything. Its perspective is low. But once it goes through that dark place, it has to go through the cocoon by itself. Unfortunately, we have to do our dark work by ourselves. Once you go through that dark phase, and it doesn't know what it's going to come out to be, but the DNA changes completely from a caterpillar to a butterfly. And when it comes out with wings and it's beautiful, and now I got other butterflies that I can take on the journey with me, and my perspective is different. What a beautiful thing. So mental health impacts our lives greatly in more than one way. From how we spend money, how we make money, what we think of ourselves, how we raise our children, breaking generational curses. When you start dealing with having to right the wrongs of grandma and grandpa and try to change because the abused becomes the abuser if we don't get the healing that we need. So mental health goes far beyond what we see or, what is shown and what we show to the surface. It's much, much deeper than that. But I can go on and on. I'm gonna stop there. What do you think, Dr. James? I know this is really your subject. So
Well, as far as how does it impact a person's life? Oh man, if you have good mental health, then that means you have clarity and your life becomes wonderful. When you
absolutely.
have a mental problem and it suffocates your way of seeing things and seeing life, it can become a living hell. So mental health is very important, and trying to maintain it is very important. And we should all take it very, very serious as it
Yes.
pertains to keeping mental health, because that is above just about anything else, So mental health, oh my goodness. Miss Carol, I know you have something on this subject, right?
You just took it, Dr. James, but I'm gonna piggyback off of you. Mental health is not only affects you, it affects, like Miss Brittany said, it affects your family, it affects the society, the community, it affects everything. Working in a hospital, you see a lot of that. And it would take a toll on you, if you're not strong and durable. And it goes back to the health and the mental challenge and all of that. If you're not really strong enough to deal with that, I mean, you have PTSD, you'll be ADHD, you have all these mental things, schizophrenic, bipolar, you have all these things going on. If you really don't have that, we going back to the mental health part of things and being healthy and taking care of yourself, taking your medication, doing what you're supposed to do, exercising. It all falls upon the same umbrella. Isn't
Okay.
that right?
That is how sweet it is.
Okay.
So the next topic is life purpose. Miss Brittany, what is purpose?
Wow, Dr. James. We got some heavy hitters today, don't we?
Okay.
So what is purpose? I believe purpose is what you're supposed to be doing on earth for God's kingdom. What about you, Miss Carol? What do you think purpose is?
Walking in the destiny and the plan that God has for you.
Okay, and I believe our purpose is dictated by what he wants. He does send us opportunity, and he allows us to choose a path. Our purpose, even though it is pushed upon us by God, it's ultimately screened through our choices. So the Lord allows us to have a brain. That's why he gives us a brain, because if he didn't give us a brain, then he'll send us all to heaven. But obviously there's a heaven and a hell, right? So
Exactly.
he gives us a brain to make choices, and those choices can define our purpose. So that means he can send us opportunities, and if we don't choose to take some of those opportunities, then what happens is maybe our life purpose is not fulfilled because maybe we've decided to go another route, and that's our fault. On the other hand, if he sends us opportunity and we're able to follow through and turn it into things that help yourself, help people, and help you have a great life, then your purpose is great. Right?
Absolutely.
So the next question, Miss Brittany, is how do I learn what is my purpose?
I'll start with evaluating what is it that I'll do for free that requires the least amount of effort on my part. And that one thing or one or two things that you do that brings you great joy, passion, the fruit of the spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, those fruit of the spirit, whatever it is that you're doing, if it brings that powerful spirit into you as well as into the person who's receiving it, that's your purpose. So I'll give you an example. For me, my purpose is to encourage and uplift. So when I'm speaking into somebody and I'm encouraging them, most of the time people will gravitate towards me just because of my gift and my purpose of being able to encourage others. It'd be somebody that I never met. Hey, how's your day? And they start spilling. And I'm like, okay. But because I'm an encourager, it's easy and effortless for me to speak and uplift and encourage someone. But in doing so, not only am I growing as an individual, but they're walking away from me with growth and prosperity in their heart as well. So that's how I feel like you can find your purpose. What is it that you do throughout your life? And people just tell you, man, you are great at money and financing, and you break it down and make it easy for everybody to understand. You're great at administration. You're great at speaking. Whatever it is that requires very little effort. I always use teachers. Not everybody is a gifted teacher, even though many people can teach. But those who are gifted at teaching, they're good at helping everybody get it, no matter what kind of learning style you have. That's a gift. If your purpose is teaching, it comes natural to you to break down the information, and no matter what type of brain you're dealing with, the analytical brain, the emotional brain, people can understand it, and you can break it down and simplify it to where everybody gets it. That's a gifted teacher. What about you, Miss Carol?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Miss Brittany. I'm glad you asked, Miss Brittany. When you was talking, I was thinking about um, the purpose. Purpose is something how do you learn what my purpose or your purpose is? Something that burns inside of you, and it just thrives on you. You wake up with it, you go to bed with it. I think about Jackson too, Michael Jordan. He lived with his basketball. Okay, that was his destiny. That was his purpose. So me, myself, I can only speak of myself with the writing. I wrote as a little girl, and it was like passion. I had to write everything down, everything down. So when I look at how do I learn from my purpose? You have to really dig deep in the inside. And we all talking about God. God is the number one. You have to go to him and guidance and wisdom and knowledge. And also, Dr. James used an example the other day. I'm gonna use you at Dr. James. We was riding the other day, and he said, we was talking, and he said, how do you not know it's God talking to you right now? And I had to sit back and I said, you're right, Dr. James, because I said I was waiting on God. Okay. And he said, how do you know he's not speaking through me right now? Because he do speak to people. So I wanted to say that and alliterate on that, because God do have angels in right here, like me and you, to let us know, hey, you are on the right path. This is the way that you should go. So that is what I wanted to say on the purpose part.
That's awesome. I will make it short and sweet. How to learn what your purpose is to listen to the voices from either in your head that's positive, or from other people's mouths that's saying something positive. If it's positive, then and it's toward your purpose, meaning how do you know it's your purpose? Because it's something that you want to do. So what we're going to talk about next is going to be school topics, and we will talk about school topics next. Um, after this, play the song, and then when you hear me talking, I want you to fade out the song once you hear me talking. Okay?
Yeah. We gonna. Stay on TV. Right. Right there. You go, Dr. James.
Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We're here. Cedar Hill, MBC Global Enterprises office. We're back. Hello, everyone. We are back. Dr. James McConnell's The Small Business Network. This topic we're going to talk about is school topics. I know everyone wants to hear about that because our kids are trying to either go back to school or be virtual. So I know, Miss Brittany, that you have questions for Miss Carol.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. James. And thank you guys for tuning in. So, Ms. Carol, I want to talk about the COVID-19 issues as far as it relates to teachers.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, teachers is returning to the classroom, but some of them are returning with underlying health issues, and they really don't want to return because they're afraid that, you know, they will get what we call the COVID-19 or coronavirus or whatever. And I was reading Plano, ISD students was exposed while they attended summer school. Can you believe this?
Wow.
When they was in summer school, as NBC DFW News stated.
Wow.
Yes.
So are we going to keep the kids out of the classroom, or are we putting them back in the classroom? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they said that they was going to do half and half. They're going to do viral, and then they're going to do a classroom. I was listening on the news. It said the A and B. A and B probably go Monday to, A will probably go Monday to Tuesday, and the B will probably go Wednesday to Friday. And the rest of them, when they're not in the classroom, they'll be going viral online.
Interesting. So what about the Georgia classroom? How many have been affected by the virus in Georgia?
Well, so many has been affected in Georgia. What they was talking about, Georgia, it was 300, I think I'm on the right path, 300 teachers was affected by this. Alone, even at the beginning, your school just opened up.
Yeah.
And absolutely, 300 teachers have already been affected. Already. Yeah,
Wow.
already.
Look. Oh, my. So, Dr. James, what are your thoughts on the COVID-19 and the teachers and going back into the classroom?
Well, I do know what they're planning on doing is a twofold thing. They're asking parents, do they want the kids to be virtual or do they want to go to school? Why they're doing this strategy is because the ones that want to keep the kids at home to be virtual, that'll take probably 40% to 50% of kids out of the school. That way, the ones that are deciding to go to school, which my kids are one of those, they are going to school because they play sports. They want to keep playing sports. They miss school. They want to go. So for the kids that are going to go to school, that means the classrooms will be thinned out to where they can practice social distancing. And from what I'm understanding, they'll probably just go to one class all day. Can that change? Of course. But right now I'm hearing they'll probably be in like one class. So one thing is for sure, we're hoping that, in a year from now, 2 years from now, this will be over. We're hoping a vaccine will come and that it'll make living with it better. But make no mistake about it, we're going to live with this. This is not going away. Just like on the table, there's a cold. Well, actually, there's pneumonia, there's the flu, then there's a cold. As we know, there's no cure to the cold. So now what we have on this same table now, it starts with COVID now. It's COVID-19, it's pneumonia, which Pneumonia is brought on by COVID-19, I will say that. And then here comes the flu, then here comes a cold. So now, since that's going to be the routine, what if this stays this way? And again, they'll come up with a vaccine, but the vaccine is not going to like make it all go away. You know, most likely for the rest of our lives, we're going to have to deal with this and try to be as healthy as possible. So what are we going to say? Are we going to say we want our kids to be virtual for the rest of their life? Is that going to be productive for the? I don't think so. And I say, but what about them catching it? And I understand that too. All we can do is be as safe as possible, pray, and move on, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Well, my personal opinion as an essential worker, I feel like the essential workers should really have precedent over the children going back to school and being in the classroom due to the fact that we still have to go to work.
Right.
But that's just my take. I have to find a babysitter or childcare to go to work because I work in therapy. I work in healthcare. So that's my take on it. That's just one person's opinion. But Dr. James, I'm gonna pass it back to you. We have some great topics. So.
All right. Well, but guys, we're getting to the end of our show, and I wanted to tell the viewers and listeners, everyone that has a business or want a business, you text "I want it." We will write an article on your business. Doesn't cost you a dime, to 469-765-5327. Again, we're going to write an article about your business absolutely free, and we'll put it in a certain magazine that's global and local and on social media absolutely free. All you have to do is text "I want it." I want it to 469-765-5327. Again, 469-765-5327. And thank you guys for listening. And this was the Dr. James McConnell's, the Small Business Network. And goodbye, and hope you guys have a blessed day. We love you.
Bye.
Hey, Duke, as soon as that go off now, you got to play the intro, which is the intro. Cool. Got it. Okay, and everything's going good, dude. I mean, I love it, man. Gotcha.